You feel your chest tighten and your mind racing, even after trying meditation apps and breathing exercises. What if you could make stress vanish in under 60 seconds using techniques most people have never heard of? In this video, I'll share 5 neuroscience-backed mind hacks used by Navy SEALs and Olympic athletes that will help you become calm, focused, and unstoppable in any situation. I discovered these techniques when I was drowning in deadline anxiety, and traditional stress management just wasn't working fast enough. The problem is, most people try to manage stress when they should be learning to eliminate it at the neurological level. These aren't just feel-good tips, they're based on how your nervous system actually operates. By the end of this video, you'll have 5 powerful tools you can use anywhere, anytime to shut down stress before it hijacks your day. Let's dive in. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This first technique is so simple it seems almost too easy, but it's used by Stanford neuroscientists and special forces operatives worldwide. The physiological sigh is a specific breathing pattern, 2 quick inhales through your nose, followed by 1 long, extended exhale through your mouth. It takes exactly 5 seconds to complete. Unlike regular deep breathing that takes minutes to work, this pattern triggers an immediate shift in your nervous system. Research from Stanford's Huberman lab found that this breathing pattern is the fastest way to reduce stress in real time. Here's the science. When you double inhale, you reinflate the tiny air sacs in your lungs called alveoli, which naturally collapse throughout the day. This maximizes the surface area for offloading carbon dioxide from your bloodstream. That extended exhale then activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's natural calm-down mechanism. Dr. Andrew Huberman calls this the fastest de-stress tool in the biological toolkit. Within 1 or 2 cycles, your heart rate drops, and that feeling of panic begins to dissolve. First, the moment you notice stress rising, tight chest, racing thoughts, tension, don't fight it. Second, take 2 sharp inhales through your nose, 1 medium breath, immediately followed by a second sip of air to top off your lungs completely. Third, exhale slowly and fully through your mouth, making the exhale twice as long as your inhales combined. Fourth, repeat this 2 to 3 times until you feel the shift. Common mistake. People make the exhale too short. You want that exhale to feel like you're deflating a balloon slowly and completely. For instance, instead of a quick puff of air, try making a ha sound that lasts 6 to 8 seconds. But that's not all. This technique gets even more powerful when you combine it with the next hack. This next one is crucial, because stress isn't just physical, it's how your brain perceives threats. The October 10th, 2010 perspective shift is a mental framework where you ask yourself 3 questions. When stress hits, will this matter in 10 minutes? Will this matter in 10 months? Will this matter in 10 years? It's a rapid cognitive reframe that takes about 15 seconds to complete. Most stress comes from your brain treating minor inconveniences like life-threatening emergencies. This hack recalibrates your threat detection system instantly. Your amygdala, the almond-shaped part of your brain responsible for fear responses, can't distinguish between actual danger and perceived social threats. When your boss sends a critical email, or you're stuck in traffic, your body responds as if you're being chased by a predator. Psychologists call this catastrophic thinking, and it's exhausting. Research from cognitive behavioral therapy shows that temporal distancing, viewing problems from a future perspective, immediately reduces emotional intensity by up to 40%. This works because your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, overrides the amygdala when you engage in rational analysis. You're essentially asking your brain, is this a real emergency or just uncomfortable? First, when you catch yourself spiraling, pause and mentally step back from the situation. Second, ask yourself, in 10 minutes, will I still be this upset? Usually, no, you'll be on to the next task. Third, ask, in 10 months, will this even be memorable? Most daily stressors won't even register in your memory. Fourth, ask the big one, in 10 years, will this have mattered at all? This question demolishes about 95% of your daily stress. Fifth, physically nod or say "not an emergency" out loud to seal the reframe. Common mistake: people skip straight to the 10-year question. You need all 3 time frames to fully rewire the panic response. For instance, instead of obsessing over a presentation mistake for hours, recognize that in 10 minutes you'll be fine. In 10 months no one will remember, and in 10 years it's completely irrelevant. Now let's talk about something even more powerful, a technique that literally changes your body chemistry. Most people don't know this, but emotions have a biological expiration date. The 90-second rule, discovered by brain scientist Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, states that any emotion, anger, anxiety, fear, has a 90-second chemical lifespan in your body from trigger to dissipation. That's it, just a minute and a half. After 90 seconds, the emotion is gone unless you mentally retrigger it by continuing to think the stressful thoughts. This isn't about suppression. It's about understanding that feelings are temporary chemical events. When something stressful happens, your hypothalamus releases a cascade of stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine, into your bloodstream. Dr. Taylor's research found that these chemicals are completely flushed from your bloodstream within 90 seconds if you don't re-stimulate the response. Think of it like this: the initial emotional wave is automatic, but staying stressed for hours or days? That's optional. You're choosing to keep pressing the stress button by replaying the triggering event in your mind. Japanese psychologists call this rumination loops, and it's the difference between momentary discomfort and chronic anxiety. When you simply observe the emotion for 90 seconds without feeding it more thoughts, it naturally dissolves. First, when stress hits, set a mental or actual timer for 90 seconds. Second, name the emotion. This is anger or this is anxiety. Neuroscientist Dr. Dan Siegel calls this "name it to tame it." Labeling emotions reduces their intensity by 50%. Third, locate where you feel it in your body. Chest, stomach, shoulders. Just observe the physical sensation without judgment. Fourth, breathe normally and watch the sensation like you're a scientist studying it. Don't push it away or amplify it. Fifth, notice how after 60 to 90 seconds the intensity naturally decreases. Common mistake: people try to fix or solve the emotion instead of just watching it pass. For instance, instead of immediately texting back when angry, wait 90 seconds and observe how your urge to respond changes completely. But wait, there's more to this, because sometimes you need to interrupt stress before it peaks. This next hack is about hijacking your brain's attention system before stress takes over. A pattern interrupt is any unexpected physical or mental action that breaks your current thought loop. It could be splashing cold water on your face, counting backward from 100 by 7 seconds, doing 10 jumping jacks, or even changing your physical position entirely. The key is that it must be surprising enough to snap your brain out of automatic stress mode. Think of it as a mental circuit breaker that stops the escalation before it becomes overwhelming. Your brain operates on neural pathways. Think of them as highways your thoughts travel on. When you're stressed, you're stuck on the worry highway, and your thoughts loop automatically. Problem, fear, worst-case scenario, more fear. Neuroplasticity research shows that pattern interrupts force your brain to switch highways entirely. It's impossible to maintain an emotional state while performing a completely unrelated task. Athletes use this constantly. You'll see tennis players bouncing the ball a specific number of times or basketball players spinning the ball before free throws. These rituals interrupt performance anxiety. Cold exposure, in particular, triggers a massive release of norepinephrine and dopamine, chemicals that create alertness and motivation while suppressing stress hormones. First, identify your personal stress triggers and decide in advance what your pattern interrupt will be. Second, the moment you notice stress building before it peaks, deploy your interrupt immediately. Third, if you're at home, splash cold water on your face for 30 seconds or take a cold shower. The temperature shock activates your dive reflex. automatically slowing your heart rate. Fourth, if you in public, do a mental interrupt, count backward from 100 by 7 seconds. That's 100, 93, 86, 79. This requires enough focus to hijack your stress loop. Fifth, combine physical movement, stand up, stretch, walk, with environmental change. Move to a different room or step outside for 60 seconds. Common mistake, waiting until stress is already at a 10 out of 10 to interrupt. You want to catch it at a 4 or 5. For instance, instead of stewing in a stressful meeting, excuse yourself to the bathroom and do 20 squats. It sounds weird, but it works. This brings me to the next secret, and it's the most counterintuitive one. Now, you might be thinking, can changing my thoughts really change my stress? The answer is yes, but not in the way you've been taught. The stress reframe protocol isn't about positive thinking or pretending stress doesn't exist. It's about reinterpreting your stress response as helpful rather than harmful. When you feel your heart racing and palms sweating, instead of thinking I'm panicking, you think my body is preparing me to perform. This single shift, from threat to challenge, changes everything about how stress affects you physically. Stanford psychologist Dr. Kelly McGonigal discovered something revolutionary. It's not stress that kills you, it's believing that stress is harmful. In a study of 30,000 people over 8 years, those who experienced high stress but believed it was enhancing their performance had the lowest mortality risk, even lower than those with low stress. Here's why. When you view stress as a threat, your blood vessels constrict. That's the response pattern linked to cardiovascular disease. When you view stress as a challenge, your blood vessels stay relaxed, similar to the physiology of joy or courage. Your mindset literally changes your cardiovascular response. Additionally, stress releases DEEA, a hormone that helps your brain grow and strengthens your resilience. But only if you don't fight the stress. Olympic athletes have known this for decades. Pre-performance jitters aren't enemies, they're indicators you're ready for peak performance. First, notice the physical signs of stress: increased heart rate, faster breathing, heightened alertness. Second, instead of thinking I can't handle this, say to yourself, this is my body giving me energy to handle this challenge. Third, reframe specific symptoms. My racing heart is pumping oxygen to my brain so I can think clearly. My shallow breathing is preparing me for action. My tension is focus. Fourth, recall a past moment when stress helped you perform. Maybe you gave a great presentation or handled an emergency, and remind yourself that stress can be an ally. Fifth, before high-stress situations, prime this mindset by saying, I'm excited instead of I'm nervous. Research shows these two emotions create identical physiological responses, but excited directs your brain toward opportunity rather than danger. Common mistake, trying to eliminate stress entirely instead of channeling it. For instance, instead of telling yourself, calm down before a big meeting, tell yourself this energy will make me sharp and engaging. You've already watched this far, so let me share why this last hack is the foundation for all the others. Let's quickly review what we covered today, because these 5 hacks work best when you use them together. Number 1, the physiological sigh. 2 quick inhales, 1 long exhale for instant nervous system reset. Number 2, the October 10th, 2010 perspective shift, asking if it matters in 10 minutes, months, and years to eliminate false emergencies. Number 3, the 90-second rule. Understanding emotions are 90-second chemical events unless you keep re-triggering them. Number 4, the pattern interrupt technique. Breaking stress L. Oops with unexpected physical or mental actions. Number 5, the stress reframe protocol. Viewing your stress response as performance fuel rather than a threat. Remember, stress isn't your enemy. Unmanaged stress is. Your body's stress response evolved to help you, not hurt you. The difference between people who thrive under pressure and those who crumble isn't their circumstances, it's their toolkit. You now have 5 scientifically proven tools that elite performers use every single day. The only difference between feeling overwhelmed tomorrow and feeling unstoppable is whether you actually use these techniques. Don't wait until you're completely burned out to start practicing these. Stress doesn't schedule appointments, it ambushes you. Start with just the physiological sigh today. Use it 3 times, once right now as practice, once before your next stressful situation, and once before bed tonight. I promise you, 30 days from now, you'll look back and realize you've been walking around with a superpower you didn't know you had. If you found this helpful, hit that like button so more people can discover these mind hacks. Subscribe for more neuroscience-backed self-improvement content that actually works. No fluff, just proven strategies. Drop a comment telling me which of these 5 techniques you're going to try first, or share your own stress-busting hack that works for you. And if you want to learn how to build unshakable confidence using similar psychology principles, check out the video I'm linking next. It's a perfect companion to what you just learned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.